Tonight, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, is now able to facilitate testing for new coronavirus. Sagicor announces a restructuring that will affect jobs in St. Lucia and Barbados. And a youth parliamentarian addresses criticism by the Employers Federation that young graduates are exhibiting poor work ethic in workplaces across the island. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 11th of February 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM Radio. You can watch via our website. It's www.caribbeanhottv.com or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Regional efforts to prepare for new coronavirus have amplified, and the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, is now able to facilitate testing for new coronavirus. As of February 10, 2020, the World Health Organization reported a total of 40,235 confirmed cases of the 2019 new coronavirus from China. There are now 319 confirmed cases in 24 countries. There are no coronavirus cases in St. Lucia or the Caribbean region. The 4 quarantined cases in St. Lucia are said to be doing well and have not exhibited any signs or symptoms. One of the gaps in the coronavirus management indicated last week was diagnostic testing. However, St. Lucia's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar George, informed that as of Friday, the 7th of February, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, in Trinidad has indicated that they have developed the capacity to facilitate regional testing.
CARPHA's Medical Microbiology Lab is accepting specimens for diagnostic testing by molecular method. The turnaround time is between 28 to 48 hours from receipt of the specimens at their lab.
Coronaviruses cause illness ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome and severe acute respiratory syndrome.
The signs include respiratory symptoms, fever, cough, shortness of breath, and difficulty breathing. In severe cases of the disease, pneumonia may develop or severe respiratory syndrome, which can lead to death. This new strain has not been previously identified in humans.
Presently, there is limited information on the characterization of the behavior of the virus, the severity of infection, and the levels of transmissibility. The Department of Health and Wellness continues to strengthen its preparedness plans to manage this threat. In the interim, the public is asked to continue practicing the standard recommendations to prevent the spread of infection. Engagements are also scheduled with the hotel and tourism sector, the private business sector, and the education sector in an effort to strengthen stakeholder participation and preparation. Sagicor General announced that it will be undergoing a restructuring process in Barbados and St. Lucia. This, it says, is in keeping with the company's ongoing efforts to improve customer experience and deliver superior value in an ultra-competitive market. President and CEO Keston Howell said the decision was taken after a strategic review of the company's operations. He noted, quote, "The company's focus on the delivery of exceptional service to its clients and is continuously reviewing operations to improve efficiencies. We sincerely value the contributions of our team and will ensure that the affected team members receive the necessary guidance and support to assist them through this process," end quote. Sagicor General is one of the longest-standing general insurance companies in the Caribbean, with operations in Antigua, Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, St. Lucia, and Trinidad and Tobago. The company offers auto, home, travel, and business insurance protection. CSA President Cyprian Montrop says though sometimes business restructuring is necessary, he says it is more often than not used as a veil to wrongly dismiss staff members. With reference to an event where an entire staff department was dismissed on the grounds of restructuring, Montrop says the business community needs to do more to honor responsibilities to workers.
In the age of technology, CSA President Cyprian Montrop says it is expected for many business places to undergo restructuring exercises as mechanical and technological advancement replace the need for large workforces in labor-intensive fields. However, Montrope says many business places have been found to use the guise of restructuring to target employees during disagreement or to increase profit margins by decreasing employee numbers.
So we as a trade union always have a responsibility to protect jobs. And second, the employer, we understand that the employer have a responsibility to protect their profits. And so the guise of restructuring have been used from years by for companies to save money as opposed to make their companies more efficient. So when things like that happen, what we do is that we go in and explain to the employers, look, while we support that you need to make more profit, but we also understand the need for whatever exercise that you're going to undertake. You're not going to adversely affect the employees that are currently working with you.
He recounts one instance where an entire department was released by a hotel employer after a disagreement on the unionization terms of the employees. Montrope says no structural differences were recorded after the supposed restructuring exercise, and new employees were subsequently hired to replace the previous group.
We have had circumstances in the past where a hotel, for example, Sandals, dismissed an entire unit because they wanted to be unionized, all in the guise of restructuring. So as a trade union, we understand that the negative impacts it do have when it's not used in the right way. We understand restructuring, for example, if you're coming from a labor-intensive environment and you're going into an IT environment, we understand there is need for a certain level of restructuring. But what we have seen of late is many restructurings happening, and there is no significant change in the structure or the work that the company or companies have been doing.
The CSA president laments the vulnerability of employees to being targeted.
As you know, anytime you send somebody home, it becomes a burden for their family because they now don't have the money to take care of their family, and if they did have commitments like loans, they are unable to continue to meet those commitments until they get re-employment. So I would urge all persons who are in employment to always respect their work, give it their best, and hope for the best.
He urges employees to work diligently to make themselves invaluable to their employers, as this is currently the only feasible action to be taken against such tactics. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Former Minister Dr. Keith Mandesi is calling for stiffer penalties for perpetrators of gun crime. He says the current legislation on the matter is laughable and perpetrators will continue to terrorize the nation as the repercussions are not enough. He says criminals need to be deterred once and for all and shown that their reign is over.
Former National Security Minister Dr. Keith Mandesi is fed up with the folly surrounding gun legislature in St. Lucia and has stated that the time is now to make the necessary changes needed to curb gun crime once and for all. Dr. Mandesi said the island's crime situation has become extremely problematic, and in seeing this, he made some recommendations to the government of St. Lucia with regards to what he would do if he was still the National Security Minister. Recommendations, he said, which were being recognized and lauded outside of St. Lucia. The main message he had to deliver was that there must be a tougher approach to criminal justice.
I was the Minister of National Security. Do you understand? And I had things in place. So I said to them, if they implement this, this is not something you have to treat with a little pussyfooting. You have to be very tough at criminals. And you have to think one step ahead of them because they're very fast thinking. The recommendations that I made, I am very happy that Trinidad and Tobago are trying to implement some of the things that I recommended.
Dr. Mandesi went on to reveal some of those recommendations.
If someone is caught with an firearm or a knife, whether you hurt or you don't hurt, there should be no bail. Period, no bail. And the sentencing should be tough enough to cause a deterrent. And I recommended anywhere from 10 to 50 years, so that a magistrate has a leeway, depending on the situation, that he can implement on that. And if a guy knows he's going to go away for 30 years, he will think twice.
The former minister said a soft approach cannot be taken on the matter. He reminisced about his days in office and some of the tactics used.
I remember when I was the Minister of National Security, when we used to bust the ghettos where the drugs were. We bust in Castries, and we're not saying we're not busting Vieux Fort, Because the criminals realize that if you burst Castries, you don't have the manpower to burst Vieux Fort. So we burst in Vieux Fort, we burst in Castries, and we burst in somewhere else. Even if we're short of manpower, but our presence were there. And that was one of the ways, because I remember these criminals used to come out and tell me, Doc, we can sell our little thing on you every time the people on our back. So you have to keep them busy on their toes. So if you're thinking about solving crime, you've got to be serious, and you've got to understand that you have to put penalties in place that will deter people. They have to think twice.
The current National Security Minister, Herman Gill Francis, has expressed similar sentiments and frustration, especially after a recent incident involving a male who was granted bail in the sum of $13,000 after he was arrested and charged for being in possession of a high-powered rifle as well as ammunition. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
As the nation grapples with the looming threat of the deadly coronavirus, Dr. Ernest Hilaire expresses his sympathy with healthcare workers who he says have been left in the line of fire.
Dr. Ernest Hilaire has expressed full confidence in the island's medical fraternity. However, he has revealed that whilst he is confident in the team's capabilities, he fears that their abilities are all in vain as they lack the resources and the means to carry out their duties effectively. Dr. Hilaire's statement comes as the nation stares in the face of a possible epidemic in the form of the coronavirus, which has been spreading across the globe and has claimed over 1,000 lives to date. When asked if he believes that St. Lucian doctors and nurses can handle such an outbreak should it reach local shores, this is what he had to say.
I've had reason to work with a lot of the professionals in St. Lucian. I do not necessarily doubt their competence, but I'm not sure they always have the tools. They actually have the tools and the capability to demonstrate their true competence. Because, I mean, it's one thing if somebody is very competent, very knowledgeable, very skilled, but they just don't have the tools to make it happen. So you have to be makeshift in everything that you do. There's no medication, there are no hospital beds. I had a friend of mine who for months has been trying to get a surgery at VH, and every time she goes in, there is no bed, there is no this, there is no that. Months, until finally she goes to the bank to get a loan to go to Tapia, to pay thousands of dollars to have the surgery.
Dr. Hilaire said he is extremely sympathetic towards the island's health professionals, as he believes it must be physically and emotionally draining to work under such conditions. He said it makes one wonder about the government's thought processes and priorities.
Look at St. Jude's. I mean, from all reports, St. Jude's could have been finished over a few months, and there was money to do so. It was stopped. It took 3.5 years before work can start. And the money was there only because the government had promised a facility to somebody to have a medical school there. So you do not complete it for your people because you promised somebody a medical school there. And then you decide what to do is to start a new building because you've promised somebody the other buildings and you're trying to rush it and build it within, you say, 9 months or a year or something like that.
Dr. Hilaire went on to further question the government's priorities, claiming that they have favored the well-being of horses over that of the citizenry.
Let me tell you what really is a perfect statement of how this government thinks and feels. The garbage disposal site in Vieux Fort, right across the road from the hospital, never been closed down or found necessary to close down, although the hospital is across the road. But a horse racing track is built, and there'll be horses there that have some worth, financial worth. And you close down the site because you do not want those horses to be exposed to a garbage disposal site. But yet your people are in a hospital across the road and you did not see your people as having the worth. I mean, this describes this government for you.
Dr. Hilaire said he understands why some of the local healthcare professionals have given up. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, a social activist says courts are too lenient in their rulings on domestic violence. A youth parliamentarian responds to the Employers Federation after criticisms of poor work ethic among the youth. And celebrating women in science.